Hey NFL fans, before we dive into today's hottest stories, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss an update. From NFL News Now for the Philadelphia Eagles. The season has unfolded with moments of brilliance, but also with decisions that continue to puzzle fans and analysts alike. And none more so than the role of tight end Grant Calcaterra, under the watchful eye of head coach Nick Sirianni. When the Eagles stepped onto the field against the Chicago Bears in Week 13, many expected the offensive line and tight end rotations to follow a clear, efficient pattern that could unleash the talents of a dynamic roster. Instead, what unfolded was a scenario that left some observers scratching their heads and questioning the logic behind certain personnel choices. Dallas Goedert, the unquestioned leader of the Eagles' tight end room, has delivered consistency and production that every team dreams of in a key position, yet behind him, Grant Calcaterra has been given glimpses of opportunity that have been marked by flashes of competence interspersed with moments of struggle, particularly in his blocking assignments. Despite this, Sirianni and his coaching staff seem resolute in providing Calcaterra the chance to correct mistakes, even if that comes at the cost of offensive rhythm or, more critically, the effectiveness of the running game, which has become a growing concern for fans and analysts watching closely from the stands and the broadcast booth. Last week against the Bears, Calcaterra was on the field for only 12 snaps, and of those, 10 were dedicated to run blocking, a task that has been a source of inconsistency for him throughout the season. While most coaches might hesitate to place a player in such a high-responsibility role after repeated struggles, Sirianni doubled down, framing the decision not as a gamble but as a vote of confidence in press interactions. The Eagles head coach did not flinch from defending the choice, explaining that each snap, each blocking assignment, is carefully considered with the belief that Calcaterra can rise to the occasion. On that play and the one you're talking about, they obviously brought the nickel off the edge and kind of stunted the other guy down in there, pretty far inside, which is going to be a tough block regardless of who's in right there, Sirianni told Jeff McLean, elaborating that the challenges faced were often dictated by defensive schemes more than individual deficiencies. We have a lot of faith in Grant and the things that he can do. Like I said, it's always our job as coaches to first start them off in positions that they can succeed. Sometimes the loss is drawn up to execution. Sometimes the loss is drawn up to the scheme. Sometimes the loss is drawn up to, you might have loved your scheme, but they did something that made it really difficult to do, and I think that was the case right there. But like I said, have a lot of faith in him and what he can do. And he's been a part of a lot of winning football here, and he has been part of the reason why we've done a lot of good things here. Yet, while the coach's faith in Calcaterra is steadfast, the results on the field tell a more complicated story. The Eagles' running game has struggled to find its identity, a troubling reality given the presence of a powerhouse like Saquon Barkley, whose explosiveness and vision could dominate defenses if the blocking scheme allowed it. Fans watching closely have noticed that the choices to place Calcaterra in the lineup as a primary run blocker have not always translated into successful ground yards. Instead, it has sometimes created predictable scenarios where defenses can anticipate the run, stack the line, and put pressure on Jalen Hurts in obvious passing situations. Hurts' greatest success as a passer has come when the play-action game is a threat, when the run opens space, when defenses are forced to hesitate just long enough to allow him to find open receivers in stride. Without a consistent running attack, that delicate balance crumbles, leaving the Eagles vulnerable and diminishing the overall potency of the offense. The inability to consistently establish the ground game is a direct reflection of personnel choices that, while made with trust and belief, may not align with on-field execution needs at this stage of the season. This brings the focus squarely back to Calcaterra and the broader tight end rotation. In theory, having a backup capable of stepping into multiple roles is invaluable, but the practical implications of relying on a player whose run blocking has been a liability are significant. When the Eagles opt to keep Calcaterra on the field for the majority of run plays, the opposition can adjust with precision, neutralizing the threat to the line of scrimmage and forcing the offense into a reactive posture. Against the Bears, Chicago exploited this predictability, adjusting their defensive fronts and generating pressure that disrupted the timing of passes, forced Hurts into hurried decisions, and stifled the rhythm of a team that has the talent to dominate when all pieces align. Each snap, each read, each rush up the middle becomes a study in what happens when faith in a player does not immediately produce the intended result. The broader narrative is one of trust, potential, and risk, a combination that makes for fascinating drama, but also highlights the razor-thin margin between strategic brilliance and strategic miscalculation. Sirianni's statements suggest that adjustments to Calcaterra's role are not imminent, that the coaching staff is willing to ride out the learning curve, and the errors in hopes that confidence, preparation, and sheer resilience will eventually yield positive results. It is a philosophy that carries both upside and downside. On one hand, developing a player through adversity can cultivate versatility, mental toughness, and loyalty, qualities that can anchor a locker room and pay dividends in critical moments. On the other hand, football is an immediate results sport, and time lost to struggles and execution can compound, leading to stalled drives, inefficiency in the red zone, and a running game that fails to sustain drives and open up opportunities for explosive play. The pressure is intensified in a season where playoff positioning and divisional supremacy hang in the balance, where every misstep is magnified under the microscope of media scrutiny, fan expectations, and statistical analysis. Even with these challenges, there remains a sense of optimism for the Eagles. Jalen Hurts has proven he can elevate the game. Saquon Barkley brings unmatched power and agility to the field, and Dallas Goedert provides reliability that anchors a key position. The drama lies in how the coaching staff manages personnel, who are still developing, how the balance between faith in a player and practical efficiency is maintained, and whether Calcaterra can rise to the expectations laid upon him. Week after week, fans, analysts, and commentators debate whether this approach, placing trust in a backup in high-stakes moments, despite mixed results, is a masterstroke of player development, or a stubborn adherence to philosophy that undermines immediate competitiveness. The story of Calcaterra's role is emblematic of a larger tension in football strategy, the delicate dance between long-term growth and short-term execution, between potential and production, between belief and reality. As the Eagles move forward in the season, all eyes will remain on how these decisions play out on the field. Will Calcaterra improve to justify Sirianni's faith, contributing to a more balanced rushing attack and complementing the passing game? Or will the predictable challenges that arise from his presence on key run plays continue to stifle Saquon Barkley's impact and limit Hurts' ability to manipulate defenses through play action? These are questions that cannot be answered in the abstract, only on Sundays. In the heat of the game, when every snap counts, when defensive coordinators make adjustments in real time, and when the margins between victory and defeat are measured in inches, split-second decisions, and the execution of assignments that test both preparation and nerve, the Eagles fans, ever passionate, will be watching, weighing each play, each assignment, each coaching choice, in the hope that the team's offensive potential is fully realized, and that faith, whether in a player like Calcaterra or in a broader strategic vision, can translate into tangible success. On the scoreboard, the narrative unfolding in Philadelphia is far from resolved. It is a story of trust under pressure, of the clash between coaching philosophy and on-field reality, and of the ongoing challenge of transforming potential into consistent performance. As Nick Sirianni continues to place confidence in Grant Calcaterra, the drama of the Eagles season continues to build, leaving observers to wonder if this gamble will ultimately pay off or serve as a cautionary tale of the delicate balance between loyalty, development, and the relentless demands of winning football. For the Eagles, and for every fan watching closely, each snap is more than a play. It is a testament to faith, resilience, and the unforgiving nature of the sport they love. Keep watching as we analyze more details about some rumors. So, folks, there's been a whisper in the wind that is absolutely sending shockwaves through the NFL rumor mill, and it involves none other than MYLES GARRETT. Yes, the defensive powerhouse, the terror of offensive lines everywhere, the guy whose name strikes a little bit of fear every time he steps onto the field, apparently. Garrett has made a statement recently that has immediately become the center of attention for fans, analysts, and basically anyone who breathes football. According to what has been circulating, Garrett allegedly said, and I quote, "If he leaves the Eagles, I accept the offer." Now, before anyone jumps the gun, let's unpack what that could mean, because this is exactly the kind of comment that fuels months of speculation and endless sports debates. The key here is the "if he leaves the Eagles" part, which, naturally, leaves all of us hanging. Who is he talking about? Which player could trigger such a bold declaration from Garrett? The ambiguity alone is enough to get every corner of the league buzzing with questions. Could it be a quarterback? Could it be a star wide receiver? Or maybe a defensive playmaker who somehow changes the dynamics of a team so significantly that someone like Garrett is ready to make a move? It's hard to say, but the intrigue is undeniable. Now, you have to understand the implications of this. Garrett, as everyone knows, isn't just any player. He's a cornerstone of the Cleveland defense, someone who has built his reputation on strength, skill, and consistency. The very idea that he is entertaining a potential move if a certain Eagles player exits their roster immediately sets off alarm bells and excitement simultaneously. Imagine the speculation in front offices right now. Imagine the fans scouring social media, trying to figure out which Eagles player's departure could suddenly make Myles Garrett consider a new chapter in his career. And let's not forget, the Eagles are no slouches either. They've been a team in transition, constantly adjusting their roster and making moves that send shockwaves through the league. For Garrett to even mention them in this context suggests that whatever player he's referring to has an extraordinary impact, not just on the Eagles squad but on the entire league's balance of power. It's also fascinating to consider the timing of Garrett's statement. We all know how strategic players and their agents are with media exposure. Making a comment like this now isn't just casual chatter. It's calculated, it's provocative, and it's designed to get attention. Think about it. The moment a top-tier defensive player hints that he's open to an offer contingent on someone else's status, it instantly puts everyone on notice. The Eagles' front office, their coaching staff, even the locker room itself, has to be paying attention to this, and if the rumor holds any water, the ripple effect could reach as far as trade negotiations, contract discussions, and perhaps even influence other players' decisions. Every detail matters in moments like this. Who Garrett is referring to could potentially reshape draft priorities, free agent signings, and even the strategy of teams considering a run at the Super Bowl. Because, let's be honest, when a player of Garrett's caliber moves or even entertains the idea of moving, it changes the equation for everyone else. Now, speaking of the player in question, the rumor mill is already in overdrive. Analysts are throwing names around, pundits are debating likelihoods, and fans are constructing elaborate what-if scenarios. Is it someone who's currently dominating the headlines with spectacular plays? Or is it a more under-the-radar talent whose departure would create a void so significant that even Myles Garrett is intrigued by the prospect of stepping into that picture? The beauty of rumors like this is that they leave room for imagination, for speculation, and for a bit of drama that football fans absolutely thrive on. And don't underestimate how much Garrett's reputation adds to the fuel on this fire. He's not just any player. When he speaks, it resonates. When he teases interest in another team or another scenario, it spreads like wildfire. And this particular statement, it's one of those moments that could dominate sports talk for weeks, maybe months. It's also worth noting the subtlety of the statement itself. Garrett didn't say, "I want to join the Eagles." He didn't even hint at a guaranteed move. What he did was conditional, hypothetical, and carefully worded. If he leaves the Eagles, I accept the offer. That's a lot of weight in one sentence. The hypothetical nature gives him flexibility, but it also stokes curiosity. And make no mistake, curiosity in the NFL is currency. Every coach, every GM, every front office executive wants to know what drives the top talent in the league. Statements like this are almost like chess moves in a larger game, where timing, positioning, and perception all play critical roles. And for the fans, it's pure entertainment. It's everything we live for in the off-season, in the lull between games, when speculation and possibility reign supreme. And let's talk about the potential impact on the Eagles side of things. If Garrett's interest is genuine, even contingent on a roster change, it immediately raises questions about the team's future. Who is this player that could cause a domino effect strong enough to attract one of the league's premier defensive talents? What would the Eagles' strategy be if they were to lose this individual? And how would that shape Garrett's decision? The dynamics are fascinating because it's not just about one player moving. It's about the chain reaction, the interplay between top-tier talent, team strategy, and market conditions. The league is watching closely, even if most fans aren't fully aware of the chessboard being laid out behind the scenes. And that's exactly what makes rumors like this so juicy. They give us a glimpse into the hidden layers of strategy, negotiation, and decision-making that happen off the field, away from the cameras and the spotlight, but which ultimately define championships and legacies. There's also the human element to consider. Garrett's statement shows passion, curiosity, And maybe a little bit of strategic posturing. It's one thing to be a superstar on the field. It's another to navigate the complexities of career choices, team dynamics, and personal goals. By tying his interest to another player's situation, Garrett demonstrates that he's thinking about more than just individual glory. He's considering fit, chemistry, opportunity, and possibly the chance to be part of something bigger. And in a league where every move is scrutinized, where every quote is analyzed, and where rumors can become headlines within hours, this kind of statement is pure gold. It ignites debate, fuels speculation, and keeps fans glued to their screens, analyzing every word, every nuance, every implication, of course. No rumor would be complete without its share of skepticism. Many will ask, is Garrett really serious, or is this a strategic move to apply pressure, to signal interest, or to create leverage for negotiations? In today's NFL, where media, marketing, and personal branding intersect with the game itself, statements like these are rarely accidental. But even if there is a strategic element, the underlying message is clear. Garrett is paying attention, and he is willing to consider bold moves if the circumstances align. And for teams, fans, and rival players, that's enough to keep everyone on edge every time a superstar like Garrett speaks, especially in such a pointed, conditional way. It's a reminder that the landscape of the league is constantly shifting, that opportunities are fleeting, and that nothing is set in stone until it's signed, sealed, and delivered. And so, as the rumor continues to circulate, the speculation will only intensify. Analysts will dissect every possible scenario. Fans will endlessly debate which Eagles player could trigger Garrett's interest. And the league itself will watch with bated breath. Will this remain a tantalizing tease, a fleeting comment in an interview, or could it evolve into one of the most intriguing potential moves in recent memory? The possibilities are endless. And that's exactly what makes this story so irresistible. From locker rooms to front offices, from social media to sports talk shows, Garrett's words are resonating, creating a buzz that shows no sign of dying down. And whether or not anything actually comes of it, one thing is certain. Myles Garrett knows how to make headlines, and he has just done so in a way that will keep the football world talking for a long time. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like this video and share it with your fellow NFL fans. Stay tuned for more updates. Only here on NFL News Now.